Anyway, let's do it.
All right.
Howdy, friends. My name is Konstantin, and I'm joined with Manus McLean. We are co founders of Brain Drain Unlimited Foundation. It's a charity that is helping people find new homes.
There's not much more to add there. This was inspired, if you want to call it inspiration, if that's a correct word. We have a lot of people, specifically friends and family for both Constantine and myself, and we're sure that many members of the audience who are refugees through the actions, no fault of their own. Uh, The Russian government has decided to become a little bit aggressive with its neighbors. So we are looking to help those people, and I like to use the word GRUM. That would be Georgia, Russia, refugees from Russia, Ukraine, and Moldova. So what we try to do is we try to offer them a pathway to come to the United States, if that is what they hope to do.
Manus, this is the first time we are speaking uh, on YouTube, and
Yes.
I think that, well, the brain drain is already older than 1 year, and um, this is the first time we're trying to reach a wider audience. So I think it'd be fair for us to introduce ourselves and talk, tell who we are and how we came to this idea and what we envision brain drain to become and how are we getting there and perhaps some plans.
Okay.
I would like to ask you to start, if you don't mind introducing yourself, who you are, and well, you kind of already said why we have come to establish Brain Drain Unlimited, but just your background and things like that.
Well, my background is mostly 40 years, various business capacities. I spent a good portion of my career with working with criminal defense attorneys. Uh, and I became a little bit familiar with the immigration process because we had a lot of, well, criminals and witnesses and things of that got caught up in the criminal defense system or the criminal system in the United States. And we would try to help them as best as we could to make their status legal or their status acceptable. Let's put it that way. Um, and so I retired. I started watching the Inside Russia videos, and when I would hear Constantine tell me how smart these people were, I was like, well, why are we wasting them? So let's figure out a way to get them here and to get them to fulfill their potential.
That's right. That's exactly right. My name is Konstantin, Konstantin Samilov. I am Russian. I fled Russia in 2022. I have become a political activist. I host a YouTube channel called Inside Russia. After fleeing to Uzbekistan, I have created a community, a support community of Russian refugees. And then later I started inviting the Ukrainians into our group, and it's become Russian Ukrainian, what we call a Tashkent Breakfast Club, a support group where we try to fix our lives and, keep on going forward. Right from the very start, I was seeing this very unique situation where the best Russians were fleeing. They were fleeing for different reasons, mostly for the political stance against war, against the regime, against Putin. Some were fleeing mobilization. Some just didn't like what was going on in the country. And we are all over the world, really, in many different countries. It's just I happen to be in Uzbekistan, and I was witnessing, or I have been witnessing this phenomena that people who fled Russia here are highly intellectual, educated, energetic, courageous, with good values, high morals. And I kept on repeating, look at these people. They could be an asset to any country. They could add instant value to any country. And I guess Manus, you were watching me in the live streams, and you kind
Yes.
of picked up on this idea. And this Manus actually reached me out a couple times, and we started talking. And he suggested a few personal things for me, and then we made friends, and we started talking every morning. We started exchange ideas, and then one day Manos kind of came up with this idea. Said, why don't we start found a charity foundation that would be helping Russians, Ukrainians, Moldovians, Georgians. And it kind of sounded like a crazy idea at first, but then said, wow, if it's possible, if it's doable, that'd be absolutely great. And that's how Brain Drain was born. I am here in Uzbekistan. Manos is in Philadelphia. Manos visited us not too long ago, came personally to make sure we're all real and not android robots, you know. That was a very good experience. Anus, everyone remembers you well. They
Okay.
keep on asking about you, and I go to breakfast. We go to have breakfast every single morning, get together. Not all of us, of course. There are over 1,000 people at Tashkent Breakfast Club, and then, probably a dozen, less than a dozen gets together every morning, and we have large meetings every Saturday and Sunday. That's what the Breakfast Club is about. That's where people who we are trying to help are all about. And this is what Brain Drain Unlimited is all about.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
I,
think that would be
I
interesting if, at like we are where we are right now, what progress we have made, and, you know, the plans, things like that. I didn't mean to interrupt
yeah,
you. If you
no
have
problem.
anything to add, that'd be
No,
great.
I think that's it's good. We've been in existence for a year, but like a newborn, we really haven't been moving that much. But little by little, we've been growing. The idea, the concept is behind that is to help them uh, both financially, both emotionally, and basically we're looking at people that traditionally come from an area where if you are not a corrupt government official, you don't have that much money. So, and that's the bottom line. That's I hate to say it that way, but that's pretty much what it is. So we hope to help them raise money to help support them with their fees, to help bring them here, and to support them, why they get started. But we're talking about that they can easily, uh, the salary divide between the United States and most of the world is far great. It's there's a big chasm there. So and the idea was is that once they are established, that they would continue to help others to bring the others that are coming behind them. Um, Brain Drain is incorporated in the state of Delaware. I can tell you it is not that easy, at least for the first time and not knowing what you're doing, to incorporate a nonprofit and to get those forms down. It is, it's a long process. Just as I said earlier when I alluded to a baby beginning to walk, sometimes it takes them a year. But where we are now, we have, for all intents and purposes, two immigration attorneys on staff. We have another attorney who's also mostly practices in family law, but is willing to pitch in on the immigration matters when we need. Uh, I hope to soon have a cadre of what is known as accredited reps. And those are people who are trained and educated and know how to fill out the forms and to navigate the paperwork through the various agencies, primarily USCIS. Um, there's a lot that is out there that is not necessarily um, correct or accurate, and that's why we have our attorneys, making sure that we stay on path. And but our initial phase has been, I can extremely encouraging. Let's put it that way. We have a lot of people, and we need a lot more, who have come forward. They've offered us spare bedrooms. They've offered to help in certain things where they had the expertise that we do not. And I think even preparing for this uh, broadcast or video, Constantine exposed my weaknesses in technology. So, that's, you know, it is something, but we have several, as I say, children who this is seems to come second nature to them. So we're well on our way, and we need more, and we need all the help we can get. So,
Um, I would like to add to that a little bit. You you know, Manos, I have an experience of starting three companies, founding three companies and developing them. And when you have an idea and you just go and start a company, you have a business plan and you think that it's going to work just like you imagine. Then once you start doing things, so many challenges come up and you start, you know, dealing with the challenges almost daily and things that you would never imagine. And
mhm.
brain drain is just like a business. You know, it's non-profit. We're not making any money, but we still have a lot of operations. For example, we need to start a YouTube channel. You know, sounds easy, but it's not. You need to make so many steps, and Google turns you down, and then something happens with the hardware and all of that. We need to get people together for a presentation. That something happens and things don't go as planned, but it's just we wake up every morning and we get up from bed and we just try to do the best we can. So we're newborn, that's true, but I think we made pretty a few pretty good steps. We have some people behind us. We have a team, and all we have two clients right now. We call them clients, but they're not really clients. They're people we're helping. Um, they are EB2 um, applicants. I don't know, Manos, perhaps you could explain a little bit what kind of programs we aim to bring people in.
Primarily, okay. There's three pathways for immigration to the United States. One is family based, and I cannot create a wife or a parent or a child, so I can do it for myself. Maybe I when I was younger, but I cannot do that for you. So the other one would be humanitarian. Humanitarian it's still available. We have a large contingent that is working here in the United States to help with the humanitarian process. That is when they ask for asylum. I can tell you that the success rate is kind of low. It's overwhelmed, and it's kind of low on that whatever, but doesn't necessarily mean that if there's a good humanitarian case that we'll shy away from it. Uh, we primarily focus in on the employment based, and the two categories would be employment based first preference and the employment based second preference with the national interest waiver. And we'll also work to maybe bring someone here under what is known as an O1, which is very similar to the employment-based one. These are people with extraordinary abilities and stuff like that. The one thing that they all have in common is that we don't need to find a job for them first, because that is always a very difficult process to find an employer willing to to do this. We do have in the United States the H-1B or HB-1. Always get that mixed up. Uh, that's an employment based. It's a temporary, but there's only 55,000. And to be honest with you, 55,000 compared to the millions, that are wanting them is just not enough, and it's not whatever. So, uh, yeah, that's why we focus in on it. We took our name, we stole it from the British Royal Society. They first coined the term brain drain because, they were getting a little bit upset with Americans stealing all their best scientists. So, yeah, I'll leave it to you.
I would add that immigration into the USA is a very complicated process. It's not easy to immigrate. It's possible, but it's not easy. And I have run into many situations when Americans somehow think it's incredibly easy. All you have to do file some paperwork and just come over and come and live with us in America. this is this is nearly impossible, friends. Without help, very, very tough. It used to be quite easy to come illegally. I think that has ended now, thank goodness. But that's definitely that we do not encourage people to do. Okay, immigration
No,
must be
we would not.
legal, supervised, and the one shouldn't break any laws. The people we trying to bring into the United States are the ones who are looking for new homes, who lost their homes, and who can add value to the country, who can add intellectual and cultural value, who are ready to work hard, pay taxes, learn how to speak English, and become a part of the society. Embrace American way. That's kind of immigrants we're trying to create.
I would say the complexity of the immigration process and has enhanced the goals for those who are willing to maybe cross the line as far as breaking the laws. Because yes, rather than file your paperwork and go through the process of whatever and done properly and done you know honestly and legally, however you want to use those terms, uh, that'll take anywhere from 9 to 12 months. And
If you're
other people
lucky.
say, yeah.
If you're lucky.
And then, I can understand that some will say, well, I could just fly to Mexico and walk across the border, and that's going to take me 9 to 12 months. Unfortunately, you end up in a situation that is probably a little bit worse, but still, I think, one of the things that we hope to encourage is to show people that the numbers don't match up to the need. And that's why the uh, incentive, if you want to call it, the temptation to do this is because, yeah, it's people just don't want to wait that long and they don't want to go through this process that long. I can tell you, quite simply, under the employment based, we have 144,000 visas available in the United States under employment based. Yet we bring in relatively close to 1 million to 1.5 million on the family based situation. It's maybe close to 1 million. All total, we're whatever. So employment based is the second highest behind family based, and then you have humanitarian. We're not filling all the slots on the employment based. People don't realize that we are not filling out all these slots on the employment based. We are maybe anywhere between 50 to 75%, on employment based. So there's a lot of slots that are open, and whatnot. It's just that people get discouraged and they stop looking for it, and you know, and then they deal with the humanitarian, which carries now, I believe, something like an 80 to 85% rejection rate. So yeah,
That's not good.
it's not good. So we try to find the easier path. Let's put it that way, and the legal one. So
I think it's a pretty good introduction of what we're trying to do. Again, it's we don't have script. We didn't really talk much before we started recording. It's a conversation where we're trying to explain what we are about. And I see some plans for this YouTube channel as to inform people of what we do, inform of what is currently going on in the immigration system of the United States of America, and introduce people who are seeking our help and have them tell their stories. And they're incredible. I've heard the stories that made me cry sometimes, you know.
yeah,
I heard the stories that are just unthinkable. Okay, and then I think it would be very good to bring people and have them share their stories. And we are planning on doing a couple videos, perhaps live streams a week from 1 to 2. We will adjust as we go. This
yeah.
is our first video.
The stories I can just give you quite a little bit of a preview. We have what I would call the rock star of construction. He is I know he's like a former dean at a university over there. He's built incredible things, and he's going to be one of our first EB1s. And then we have another young man who's, I would also say, as far as an industrial engineer and all this, I don't pretend to understand engineering. I'm working with him, but he's almost ready to go. And there's another young couple. They're very good with computers. I know the one guy's working on games or whatever. Um, my kids like the games, but I don't necessarily know how to deal with it themselves. But we're talking about a nice young couple that is ready to start their life. That the process of starting their life was rudely stopped, and forced into a situation where they have to seek refuge in a foreign country. In this case, Uzbekistan. But yeah, I would love to see as many of the people in our audience to meet them, to hear their stories, and to see, what good people these are, and why they should be here. Naturally, we have two doctors, so yeah, hopefully we can get one of them, and everybody, I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow, and I know that that's going to be the biggest complaint that we don't have enough doctors. Yes, yeah. So we know what's going on there, so there are people that are there, uh, ready, willing, and eager to come here to help. So I'll leave it to you.
Well, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for joining Brain Drain Unlimited. Thank you for giving us a chance to be heard. I hope we both hope to for you to come back, to be seeing you a lot more often. Live streams and videos, once or twice a week. We will adjust as we go. Welcome to Brain Drain Unlimited, and let's change some lives for the
All
better.
right. Welcome.